Hello there.
Hi.
It's great to see you again.
As always, it's so good to see you.
You are so proud of your wife. She just ran the New York City Marathon.
Yes, she did.
In a small amount of time.
Yes. She ran it in 3 hours and 40 minutes, I think.
That's fast.
It's fast, but I cheered for 5 hours.
Oh.
So I feel good about myself, too.
Okay, so we should talk about you. Sorry.
I think
so
we should
she
talk
ran.
about me. No. She was absolutely amazing. She ran with 2 of her former teammates from the national team, and
Right.
they were back together, and it was a beautiful thing.
Right, but you cheered for 5 hours.
I did.
For 5?
Well, here's the thing, because, there's a lot of people that finished after her.
Mm-hmm.
It was one of the best days of my life. I mean, everybody on earth should go watch a marathon and watch these people commit to this unbelievable, there were every age, people in wheelchairs, people on their feet, people crying, people cheering. That was my son. He almost passed out from excitement after that moment. It was just, I think that in my retirement, I want to be like a professional marathon cheerleader and just travel around and cheer for marathons.
Well, you could still kind of do that while you're working, because you travel in your work as well, right?
That's true. I could do it. I could make stops along the way.
All right, just think about it.
Okay, I'll consider it.
Would you run a marathon?
Never, ever. Are you kidding? No, that's crazy. The beauty of the cheerleader is that it combines my 2 best traits, which are enthusiasm and not running, ever, right? So, I found my fit.
Do you, because she works out a lot. She runs, she's obviously very fit. Do you work out?
I do not. She tried to get me to run a lot of times. And one day she came home and she said, Glennon, I just heard on a podcast that running, every mile you run adds 7 minutes to your life. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, well, it takes me 18 minutes to run a mile. So every mile I run, I'm losing 12 minutes of my life. Like, it's killing me to run miles.
Yeah.
Right? So math.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. When you put it that way.
It's math.
Yeah. You're right. You're absolutely right.
Thank you.
So y'all are living here now. You moved from Florida to here. And you live near the water?
We do. Yeah, we wanted to move to LA, but real LA was a little fancy for us, so we live in the South Bay, right by the ocean. And I am so happy here. I will never leave.
That is great. We have talked about actually seeing each other. You're very south and I'm very north, but we'll figure it out at some point.
That would be great.
We will.
I'd love it.
Let's talk about your new book. Tell everybody what this is and why you wrote it.
Well, after I released Untamed 2 years ago, and what a lot of
Great
people...
book, if you haven't read Untamed. Great book.
Thank you. And, people just kept asking, well, that's great, you got Untamed, but how do we get Untamed? And I don't know is the answer, but I do feel like right now, Untamed came out at the beginning of COVID, and people kind of used it as a comfort to get through. And now we're in this moment where we're trying to figure out what we're going to build next, right? Like, what's the new normal, because we're not going back to the old normal, which served so few people. So I think it's a good time to kind of take a minute and think not about what we're going to build next, but who's going to do the building, right? Because if we don't take a minute to go inward and find ourselves, we're just going to keep building the same old families, relationships, institutions that we've always had. So this is kind of like an adventure to go on, but it's more of an inward adventure, right? It's kind of like a homecoming. How do we, especially women, how do we get back inside of ourselves and find out who we really are so we know who will do the building next?
And it challenges you. You read and then you go, so you are, and then you can kind of think about that and write it yourself.
Yeah, I mean, so many of us, we don't know what we love, we don't know what we like, we don't know what we want, we don't know what we want to eat, we don't know who we want to become. So just ask. I don't have any answers because everyone's life is different, but I think it asks a bunch of questions that can kind of get people to the answers that are already inside of themselves.
Yeah, we have some questions from people in the audience, and I'm so bad at pronouncing names, but Manav Barot, is that right?
That was perfect.
Okay, well, thank you. What is your question?
My question is, how do you move on after losing someone for the first time?
I don't think it's anything that we get over. I think it's something, I've seen grief become for people like a chrysalis, right? It's like something that you go inside of and it just disintegrates you, right? It just completely changes who you are. And then you come out a completely transformed person. I think that the gift of grief is transformation. But the only way we can get that gift is just if we surrender completely. If we stop trying to say, how do I get over it? And we just say, we just kind of let it do its magic to us. And we allow ourselves to come out different on the other side.
Sounds
Bless
good. Thank you.
That is so true. That's beautiful. It's so true. It really, anything, that devastates you changes you.
Yes.
And hopefully you look at it as a learning experience and changes you for the better. Someone told me something once when I had a broken heart. They said, when you have a broken heart, the cracks are what lets the light into your heart.
Yes.
And so that's always kind of, I've always thought of that. Like, let the cracks let the light in. Don't put up walls.
Yeah.
Keisha, Ash, where's Keisha?
Hi, I'm Keisha. I've been a mom for the last 20 years, and my daughter is growing up, and it's hard for me to let go. I know she wants to experience life and be a grown-up, but the mommy in me still wants to hold on tight. How do I do that?
Okay, I'm just nailing that, Keisha. Not at all. I have a 20-year-old, and I'm watching him leave. And here's what when I think about my relationship with my parents, right, and how my mom used to worry and call that love. It's actually not love, right? It's like an attempt to control, right? It's something we do out of fear, and fear is the opposite of love. So the best way we can honor our young adults is to trust the people we raised, right? To release them into the world
She
and just
tells me that
trust.
all the time.
Listen to your daughter. They will lead the way.
Thank you.
Thanks, Keisha. Haley? Where is Haley Coford?
My
hi.
question, hi.
We remember you.
Yes. My question is about self-love. How big of an impact do you think it has, and where's a good place to start a self-love journey?
Whew. I mean, I think the reason we have trouble talking about self-love is that none of us know what it means, right? Like, what does it mean? I'll tell you a story about Abby and my wife and I. I used to try desperately to control everything that Abby did. And I just thought that was love, right? So one day I was doing the thing where I was telling her what I thought she should do, and she stopped me and she said, when you do that, it makes me really sad because it makes me know that you don't trust me. And I trust you so much. And I want you to trust me too. And that's when I realized, okay, so I can either control her or I can love her, right? But I can't do both at the same time. I think the best way we can start to love ourselves is to stop gaslighting ourselves, right? To trust our intuition, all those knowings we have, to trust our emotions and our feelings as information and ways we should go, right? And to trust our imaginations as the blueprints for our lives instead of pipe dreams. So love is hard. Start with trust.